What's up guys, it's Matthew back and welcome back to another video. Today we have episode 26 of the best zombies map. We have Origins versus Revelations. This is going to be the last episode of round 3 and then we are going to move on to round 4. So let's just start it off with gameplay. Now Origins is it's a pretty expansive map. There's a lot of stuff to do. You have to, of course, build all the staffs. You have other stuff like the tank that you can do. The preparing for like the Panzer, the Easter egg. It's a lot of stuff you can do, and it's honestly pretty fun. Revelations is sort of the same thing. You have probably not as much stuff to do, but again, you have a lot of stuff to do. You have quite a bit of strategies as far as training and camping go, and just high round strategies. So both were pretty good. So I went with 4 to Origins, 3 to Revelations. Next, we have training spots. Now, Origins sort of doesn't really have very many. You have to, what I normally do is go on the tank path. That's normally what I do. You can also go on the sort of near, just sort of like a full map train. As for Revelations, you have more on that map. You can go and into places like Kino, the mob cafeteria. You can try and train inside of the Pack-a-Punch place. I think you have more places on Revelations, so I went with 2 to Origins, 3 to Revelations. Next, we have the difficulty level. Now, I think Origins does a pretty good job with this because you have some really overpowered things like the 4 upgraded staffs, but then you have harder things like the Panzer that help balance it out, and that's what I think is good about it, is balance. Revelations, you have some hard bosses, but you have just so many overpowered things. Like, if you're playing on solo, you could have the Thundergun Pack-a-Punch and the upgraded Apothicon Servant. Like, that's why that map is the easiest map to get to around 100 on, because you just have so much super easy stuff that you can use. So I went with 3 to Origins and 2 to Revelations, because Origins I felt was more balanced. Next is Innovation. Now, Origins brought 4 new staffs, and then 4 upgrades to those staffs. It brought some pretty cool guns in a Pack-a-Punch camo. It brought the 6 generator system. It brought the tank, like the Panzer, just the really complex Easter egg. It's a lot of stuff on the map. That map brought a ton of new stuff. And I'm sorry to break it to you guys, but Revelations is almost not even a real thing. Revelations, if you think about it, other than the starting room, Revelations is just other maps. That's the problem with it. It brought back a lot of old stuff. It just sort of brought back a bunch of old stuff and combined it together. So it doesn't get that much for innovation because it didn't bring anything new. Like, if you think about it, the map itself isn't new. The wonder weapons aren't new. It didn't bring any new perks. Just like a lot of stuff it just didn't bring. So I had to go with 8 to Origins, just 2 to Revelations. Next is perks. Now, Origins brought the Wonder Fizz, and Revelations didn't bring anything, so I went just 2-0. Next is Wonder Weapons. Now, Origins brought 4, like as I said before, 4 staffs, and then you can upgrade those 4 staffs. So it brought a ton for Wonder Weapons. Now, Revelations has 2 amazing Wonder Weapons, the Thunder Gun and the Apothicon Servant, but they're not new. And that's the problem. They're not new. It didn't bring any new cool Wonder Weapon. They're just from other maps. So 3-0 to Origins. Next is bosses. Now, Origins brought the Panzer, which everybody hates. He's sort of like the guy, sort of almost the same one from Mob of the Dead. And same sort of with Revelations. It brought the Parasites, but they're pretty similar to the ones on Shadow. So I just went with 1 to 1. Next is colors. Now, Origins does on there's really three versions you can play on the Xbox 360/PS3. It looks pretty nice. The graphics are okay, and it's a World War I tank site, so it obviously looks pretty cool. On the Xbox One backwards compatible, It looks sort of similar to last gen, but it just has some improvements. It looks a little bit nicer, runs smoother. And then on PS4, on Zombies Chronicles, it looks really good. They managed to bring it back, and it made it look really nice. And also, it looks okay on on the actual map of Revelations as well. And Revelations is one of the coolest looking maps I can think of. Now, Origins looks really good, but Revelations is probably one of the coolest one of the coolest looking maps I can think of. So I went with 2 to Origins, 3 to Revelations. And last up was Storyline. Now, this is a hard pick because Origins has the whole end of Black Ops 2 storyline, and it brought back the original characters, but in their new forms. The ending was controversial, but I know a lot of people liked it. Revelations was the end of everything. Like, Origins was a huge Easter egg. It was one of the biggest Easter eggs ever. And Revelations is, again, one of the biggest Easter eggs ever. And it was the ending of everything. So I just went a tie 4 to 4. Okay, so our final score is 29 to Origins and 19 to Revelations. So what we're going to do for round 4, is we're going to have the 3 maps move on to the next round, and we're going to compare them against each other. I'll make a quick episode just talking about that real quick. But anyways, thank you for watching this video. Oh yeah, by the way, the final score, if I didn't even mention it, 29 to Origins, 19 to Revelations. Couldn't forget about that. But anyways, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.